Following the great triumph of US and British code breaking in World War II, it quickly became apparent that code breaking and signals intelligence was going to continue to be a crucially important source in the emerging Cold War struggle against the Soviet Union. The paranoia, internal security measures, sealed borders, and extreme secrecy of Soviet society made conventional espionage extremely difficult, if not impossible. Even the most basic facts about the Soviet government's organization, the country's economy, and the military were considered state secrets under Stalin's regime. In the early years of the Cold War, the CIA kept optimistically dropping agents behind the Iron Curtain, and it would later be learned that virtually 100% of them were immediately captured, shot, or played back as double agents against the West. The only thing you're proving by parachuting agents into Soviet-controlled territory, one U.S. Army official told the CIA station chief in Berlin, is the law of gravity. Well, the Soviets' development of their atomic bomb in 1949 gave signals intelligence an even greater urgency, as signals were almost the only plausible source that could detect military preparations within the Soviet Union that might signal an imminent Soviet nuclear attack. The huge challenge the U.S. codebreakers faced in exploiting this vital source was that in November 1948, the Soviets abruptly instituted a sweeping, coordinated change in all of their military code systems. And it was such an unprecedented development that Washington and London briefly feared that this itself was an indication that the Soviets were about to launch a military attack on the West. The new Soviet code systems proved far more challenging than anything the US and British codebreakers had faced before. And indeed, most of the high-level Soviet codes would remain unbroken probably until 1979, when supercomputers and advanced mathematical research produced what one NSA paper referred to as the height of American cryptologic success in the Cold War, around the time of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. Throughout the Cold War, at roughly 5-year intervals, NSA brought in outside panels of leading mathematical and scientific experts to review the state of the Russian problem and its possible solutions. And these evaluations are almost nothing but a tale of woe and pessimism. In 1958, a panel headed by the vice president of Bell Labs concluded that, quote, no national strategy should be based on the hope or expectation that we will be able to read. Well, the rest of the sentence was redacted by NSA's declassification czars, but it was pretty obvious it was referring to high-level Soviet encrypted traffic. At one point in the mid-1950s, NSA had 15 special-purpose computers running nonstop for 5 years, searching through 1 million intercepted Soviet messages that had been enciphered with a machine the U.S. called Albatross, trying to find any flaw that could be exploited, and the project ended in failure. Now, incidentally, whatever NSA's successes or failures in breaking Soviet codes, one thing they unquestionably did, and I'm not saying this facetiously at all, was provide a huge stimulus to the U.S. computer industry. The first magnetic drum memory, the first magnetic core memory, the first high-speed tape drives, the first all-transistor computer, the first computer workstation, the first desktop computer, the first high-speed modems, and the first supercomputers were all built to meet NSA contracts and requirements and only later made their way to the commercial market.